Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today I have a video tutorial on how to make my design, the Stuffie Monkey, and it is such an easy design. The ears are just adorable. What I like about this design is it only requires one hooping, and so it is such a breeze. It does require 3 appliques though, so one for the face, one for the belly, one for the ears at the same time. So stay tuned and I'll show you how to make this design. This is what the design looks like when you open up in an embroidery software. And what's wonderful about this design is it is all completed in one 8-inch by 12-inch hoop. So I have the ears done here, which we will embroider first, and then we actually do the body up here. And I'm going to show you how to personalize this. It is so easy. So I'm embroidering this for a little boy named Hunter. And so I'm going to go to the letter A here, and I'm going to type Hunter. And I am using Itch to Stitch Jackson in 1.5, and it naturally puts it in the center for me. So I am going to just bring it down a little bit, just like so, for where I want to see it. I kind of want it there, but I'm going to move it a little bit to the right because that R has extra space and that H is super close to the satin stitches. And I'm going to unhook it like that and just take a little bit closer look. I think I'm going to move it one more over, just like that. I'm just using my arrow buttons to do that. Okay, that looks pretty good. It gives me plenty of space right here so that it doesn't get too close to the edge. All right, we have to move the hunter stitches. It has to go before we do the placement stitches for the ears. And so let's look at the details real quick. Okay, so step 14 is the face. And then step 15 is the placement stitch for the ears. All personalization must go between step 14 and 15. So I'm just going to click this and drag it to below my little step 14. And so now it's going to be, here's my step 14, still the same. My new step 15 is my personalization. Of course, it has to be a different color, so it'll do a stop. And then my new, let's see here, 16 is right here, which is the placement stitches. So it just pushed everything back by 1 after step 14. That looks good. And so I'm going to save it and bring it to my craft room so we can make this adorable Monkey Stuffie. Let's talk fabric real quick. I use 2 types of fabric for this project, for this monkey. The first fabric I use is this darker brown So Lush fleece from, it's from Joann Fabric. And there are actually 2 sizes for this. One is for the front body and back body, and the other is for the front and back of the outer ears. That I use dark brown. I use the same type of fabric, So Lush fleece fabric from Joann's, and I use this, it's kind of an off-white color. It's hard to see probably on the camera. And one is for the face and one is for the belly. So all dimensions are included in the directions that you will receive if you purchase this design, this pattern on Etsy. And again, my Etsy store is Prairie Chic Patterns. And finally, I use, what you need is 1 cotton piece fabric for the inner ear. I try to match it as close as possible to this color choice right here. Because this is so light, I'm actually going to do 2 layers of it, so it's just a little bit darker because it will be going against this brown. I'm going to put all my fabric pieces to the side. And these are my color choices that I think I am going to do so far. I have this for the outline of the belly and the face. I matched it up to the fabric I have. This dark brown matches the dark brown fabric I have. And I think I'll use this as well for the name Hunter. And lastly, I have some black for the eyes and the mouth. Put that to the side for use. And then I have my 8 by 12 inch hoop already have this tearaway stabilizer in it. So I am ready to go to the machine and run the first stitch, which is the placement stitch. I am at my machine, so I am ready to upload my file. Again, what's so great about this design is it is all done in one hoop. And so that is why you need the 8" by 12" hoop, because I was able to stick it all together. All right, so I just uploaded it and I am ready to put my hoop in the machine and run the first stitch. Take your fabric piece for your ears and have it facing right side up. And we are going to place it over these stitches right here. Make sure that there is extra fabric at the top right here where these two flat lines are, because we are going to need those for when we attach the ears to the body. And of course, make sure that you have fabric that covers all of the placement stitches. And take it over to your machine. Just hold it while it does the tack down stitch. It just stitched the placement or the tack down stitch for the ears. Leave your hoop in the embroidery machine and run the next stitch. And this is the placement stitch for the inner ears. Placement stitches are complete for the inner ear. Grab your fabric for the inner ear, applique, and place it right side up. Because again, like I said, I'm going to do 2 layers just because this is so thin and I want it to be pretty dark. And I'm just going to hold it while I take it to the machine and do the tack down stitch. As you can see, I give you more than enough fabric that goes around the applique for the applique. If you are trying to conserve fabric or save on money, I would cut your fabric and go. That way you can see how much is needed. This one, you need no extra space down here. So we're just gonna cut around it. I'm first going to, before I use my applique scissors, I'm gonna cut in the middle, making sure that I'm not cutting my brown fabric. It's easier for me to cut around an applique piece if it is split up just like that. All right, and you're gonna wanna get as close as possible to the applique. So take your time on this step. Do short little snippets. As you can see, I snipped around my appliques just like this. Now, this is an optional step, but I would grab some water-soluble stabilizer and just place them over the inner ear, just the inner ear. And I do that because... What was that, honey? Do I have the charger? Okay, one moment, okay? I'll help you in a second, okay? Place some tape just like so, because I do not like to hold this in place. And I'm just gonna put some at the top of my hoop. Just like that. And I'll take it to the machine, and it's gonna run a satin stitch around the ears. I'm using dark brown thread. So let's do that. It's stitched out beautifully. We are now going to remove the water-soluble stabilizer. And the next thing we're gonna do is grab that second piece for the ears and figure out what side is this is the right side. And I'm gonna have the right side facing down and the wrong side facing up. I have it all aligned just like so, and I'm gonna hold it while it stitches that final bean stitch. Grab a sharp X-Acto knife, and we are going to carefully remove the ears from the hoop. We do that by first folding it over like this and cutting a straight line right here as close to the fabric as possible, but not close enough to the stitches where we will cut the stitches by accident. Then we will turn the hoop over and do the same over here. We have more give over here. So I'm just gonna go like that. And then to the top, we're gonna bend it over again. And we're just gonna bring it all the way back to the starting. Okay, and it should just be removed super easy. As you can see, my X-Acto knife did not cut perfectly right there, so I'm just gonna go like that. There we go. All right. Remove the outside tearaway stabilizer, but leave the internal tearaway stabilizer for now. Grab some sharp scissors and cut straight down the middle. And put one ear to the side. Take one ear, and this is the opening down here, the flat side, the straight line right here. That is the opening of the ear, and we need extra fabric down here. So take your scissors and cut a slight diagonal up into that opening on the right side and the left side. Next, carefully cut around the ear, making sure that you don't cut the extra fabric down here. Now that I have cut the piece, I am going to remove the internal stabilizer, like so. I have removed all the stabilizer, and now we're just going to turn it inside out. And there is the ear. Let's get rid of some of that fuzz. All right, so we're gonna do the second ear right here, and it'll look just like this one, and then we'll put them to the side because we will not need this until a little bit later. When we attach it to the body. Both ears are done, so I'm gonna put these to the side, and I'm going to grab my hoop, and I'm gonna grab one of my body pieces, and right side facing up, I'm gonna place it over the placement stitches, making sure that I have plenty of fabric at the bottom. So when I fold it over like this, that's a pretty good amount. And then I need to fold over here so I make sure I'm at the top. And that's about a 1/2 inch. So I would say this is about a 1/2 inch up here. And then I have about a full inch down here. I'm gonna take it to the machine and run the next stitch, which is the tack down stitch. Leave your hoop in the machine and run the next stitch. This is the placement stitch for the face. Grab your face piece and place it over the placement stitches, making sure that you are all around the edges so that it stitches correctly. And then you're gonna hold it and take it to the machine and just hold it and stitch the tack down stitch. Face stitch has been tacked down, and grab your applique scissors, and we are very slowly gonna cut around this. Now, I think there is it's either a 6.5 or 7mm stitch right here. And because this fabric is bulky, we have to get as close as possible, or else some of the fabric will show through on that satin stitch. So I'm just gonna start at this edge, I think, and make really small snips. You really need to take your time on this step. This fabric is extremely messy, so I just suggest you have a lint roller with you. And after each cutting, I would run the lint roller over it a few times just to get rid of all those little extra pieces. It is now ready to go into the machine again, and it's going to do a placement stitch for the belly. Placement stitch is completed. Now grab the belly piece right side facing up and place it over the placement stitches, making sure that you have extra fabric at the bottom. So I'm gonna place it like that for now. Let's see. That's pretty good. Good. So that's about 1/4 an inch right there. Okay, that looks good. And that looks good. Let's just try that one. Yep, okay. All right, so I'm gonna take it back to the machine, and I'm just gonna hold it down while it does the tack down stitch. We do need this excess fabric right here, so I'm just gonna grab these scissors for right now. And I'm just going to make sure that we have a little extra down here, just like so. And then a little bit extra on this side as well. Then I'm gonna grab my applique scissors, and I am going to cut around just this curved line right here, as close as possible. Right, I cut the belly, making sure that I leave extra fabric down here. I cut as close as possible. However, again, some of these things might show a little bit. That's why I'm gonna switch my fabric or my thread to this color to match the fabric. It helps it blend in a little bit if I don't get it perfectly cut. And before I do that, I'm actually gonna grab some more water-soluble stabilizer, and I am going to place it on the top and just tape it. And this way, it just helps the needle be really, it just helps the needle a little bit. All right, so I'm gonna do that. Okay, I have it all taped in place. I'm gonna put it into my machine, and it's going to do the satin stitch around the face and the belly. It just did the satin stitch around the face and the belly. I'm gonna change my thread to dark brown, so back to this brown, and it's gonna do the nose. This nose stitched out beautifully. Now we are gonna do the eyes and the mouth, and I'm gonna change my thread to black. Next step is completely optional, and it is not included with your purchase, which is the personalization of this monkey design. And I'm gonna write the name Hunter, like I showed you on my computer. It's gonna go right here. Again, I just want to say, if you like the font, it's the Itch to Stitch Jackson, and it is definitely a separate purchase through Designs by Juju. All right, let's take it to the machine and do the personalization. It is time to remove the washable stabilizer, and I'm just going to gently just pull it away from my design. It's quite easy to do with all the stitches. I will have to go into these letters right here and get them. It is time to put the machine back in, and it's going to do the ear placement stitches for us, and that will give us a guide on where we should place our ears. Guys, I use brown for my placement stitches, and I can't really see them. I think it's right here and right here. So I'm going to show you how to put the ears on inside the machine. As I said earlier, it's hard to see the placement stitch because I kept the brown in, and I should have changed the color so I could actually see it. But that's okay, because I can show you another way on how to place your ears correctly by using the placement of the needle. So the needle right now is in the center of the tack down stitch. So what that means is I'm going to grab an ear, and I'm going to turn it so that the inner ear is facing down. And then I am going to look for the center of this ear. So let's just fold this over just like that. And I'm going to make sure that the raw edge is placed past my needle so that it is sewn outside of the final stitch of the placement stitch of the body. And I'm just going to put it underneath like this and decide kind of where I like it. And you can put extra out. That way, when it folds, there's no raw edges. And so that is another way to do it. Now that I used my needle to give me just a basic guide of where I should put it, I slid it out a little bit. That way I can just double check that I like the placement. So if I was to fold it over, this is what it would look like. And I need to make sure that the raw edges go outside of that body line. And that's why it's important that you double check by folding it. So this looks good. So it is ready to be sewn. So I'm going to push my hoop back in and run the next stitch, which will tack it down. I actually liked placing it with that needle on the machine a lot better than I normally do, because look how great I actually did. It's actually pretty even. So I got the one ear, looks perfect how I placed it. So I'm going to do the same method I showed you earlier with the second ear. Just remember though, that the right side, which is the inner ear, must be down. Raw edges must be outside of the final design. And this time I will use a ruler so I can try to measure it up as evenly as possible. So I'm going to get this one done next. Ears are all done. So we are now moving on to our final step, which is putting the back piece on here and doing the last stitch. So grab that other body piece and figure out what side is right side up and which side is wrong side. So this is my wrong side, okay? And what you're gonna do is just place it as evenly as possible as you can with the other exterior fabric piece. So, and you wanna have your wrong side facing up. So this is my wrong side. It's a little bit more shaggier. And I'm gonna move it like so. And I wanna make sure that it will cover the top and that I have enough fabric at the bottom. I'm gonna take it over to my machine and I'm gonna run the final stitch. It starts up here and it does a single stitch all the way down here. When we get to the ears, you will have to increase your presser foot height. I usually put mine at 7.5 when I'm going over the ears, or if I have fins or something like that in my design. And then I'll put it back down to here, and then it'll stop about right here. And then I'll do a bean stitch all the way back up here. Again, I will increase the presser foot height here, and then it'll stop here with the bean stitch, and then it'll go back to the single stitch, and I'll stop about here, and then I'll do a bean stitch, and then I'll stop here. So this is the last stitching step for this Monkey Stuffie. It is time to take the design out of the hoop because we are all done with the machine. And we're gonna flip it around. And we are just going to tear away the stabilizer up to these placement stitches. I see my bottom is a little not as straight. So what I'm gonna do, just match them like so. Makes it a little easier for the next step. Perfect. Okay, so here comes the next step, which is finding that hole, which is right here. And what we're gonna do is use our scissors to cut a diagonal here and a diagonal. How far does this go? It's about right there. Here, just like so. And then with very sharp scissors, we're gonna cut around from this cut all the way to this cut. And we're gonna have extra flap at the bottom. We definitely do not wanna cut those. When you get to the ears, it will be harder to cut because you are cutting through 4 layers of fabric. So just take your time. If you use sharp scissors, you will be perfectly fine. Don't forget to take off the stabilizer from inside the design because that would be so bulky if you left that in. Get as many pieces as possible out. And now it is time for a moment of truth and see how well we did at sewing this by turning it inside out. This is the most exciting part of the whole project, to see it just come together. I give you a pretty substantial size hole, so you should be able to get your wrist in there. Make sure you turn in all of the sides, all the edges. Give it a nice little press out. Absolutely love it. There you go. Isn't that the cutest thing ever? Adorable. And now we need to stuff it. It is now time to stuff it, and I am using Silky Polyfill Luxury Down Alternative Fiber Fill to do this. And you just open up the hole and fill it as much as you want. I like mine pretty firm, so it will take me a while to do this. So get it however firm you want it, and then we'll do the final step. All right, I have stuffed it to my satisfaction, and now we're gonna close this hole. We're gonna I'm gonna push that in there too. We are going to fold all the raw edges inside the monkey, just like so. And then we're gonna look for this little line right here, and that's kind of like our guide. And I'm just gonna fold it like so, just like that.
and use a wonder clip to hold it shut temporarily. I'll do 3. Just like so. Okay, and I'm gonna take a peek. Looks good. Looks wonderful. All right, so I'm gonna take it outside and I'm gonna use fabric glue, permanent fabric glue to use the adhesive to close it shut permanently. However, another good way would be to hand sew it. Let's see how good of a job I did. Okay, let's see if it looks pretty good. I don't think there's any openings. All right, and there it is, the monkey squishy, the monkey stuffy. It looks so cute. It's so easy to do. Easy to personalize. It looks absolutely wonderful.
Thanks for watching. This design is free on my Patreon. Check the link below. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow for more creative fun.